So hi, hello, how are you doing? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, be sure to give me a subscribe. So this channel is just for me to document my journey through losing 60 pounds. I am at the beginning of my journey, and I said in my very first video that I have enjoyed a lot of videos by people and channels of people who have lost a lot of weight through the principles of calorie density and eating a whole foods plant-based diet. But what I have not been able to find is somebody documenting that journey from the beginning, so when they are at their bigger size and hopefully shrinking through the videos. So I'm going to document my journey, and hopefully if there's somebody like me now looking for these videos in the future, they've got that and they can come along. So this is week 3 of my journey, at the end of week 3, and I am aiming to lose 60 pounds using whole foods plant-based diet and following the principles of calorie density. That is my goal. So this week I want to talk a little bit about trigger foods and food perfection. And I don't mean food perfection as in what's on your plate that it looks perfect. I mean this idea of being on or off a wagon. So I think a lot of problems with the diet world now is it's very restrictive, and we get into this mindset of we can't have this, we can't have that, blah blah, and it ends up leading us to kind of a binge eating pattern, or at least I know it did for me, especially if I'm trying to be this perfectionist with food all the time. And it's more like using food hacks rather than going to a healthy way of eating. So I have switched to eating whole foods that are plant-based. I am already vegan, so that's not a problem for me to cut out the meat and the dairy and the eggs and all that stuff. So I already had that down. But I was a junk food vegan, so I would eat pizzas and burgers and anything that people can eat as a non-vegan. Vegans can eat. There is a vegan version. There is cheese. There's even vegan eggs. Most of these things are made with lots of oil, lots of sugar, just like any processed food, be it vegan or not vegan. They are not good for you, and they don't make me feel good in my body. And you know, I'm hitting that middle age. Well, I am at that middle age of life, and I don't want to reach the later stages of my life with things like diabetes, high cholesterol, having to take blood pressure tablets, having heart attacks. I don't want any of that. I want my body to feel good. And I always say that your body is a machine. This is you up here, the squidgy bit inside your skull, but the rest of you is a machine. You wouldn't put the wrong fuel into your car because it would break down. So I'm no longer going to put the wrong fuel into this machine because I don't want it to break down. I would like it to last as long as possible. So this is me following the whole food plant-based diet. But speaking of perfection, is we kind of get into this mindset of we have to eat a certain way at certain times a day, calorie restriction, things like keto and stuff like that, and they have always led me to a kind of a binge eating thing. So I have done things like the calorie counting and all that stuff, and it doesn't work because what happens is you get very restrictive, and it's trying to maintain your bad habits with a diet, and I don't think that ever works. So I see a lot of people trying to do hacks to lose weight but not actually maintain a healthy inside, because you could be slim on the outside, but what are you like on the inside? And you know, don't get me on a rant about keto, but this is one of those things. You may lose a lot of weight really quickly because you are going low carb, high fat, but what are you doing to inside your body? So that kind of thing never sat right. But because you're being in this restrictive kind of mode, for me it used to lead to binge eating, and so I am trying to battle that, you know, just binging on stuff that I don't want to eat, which is the junk food, the biscuits, the crisps. So part of that is having a clean environment, and it's one of the things a lot of people say is keep your environment clean because then you are not tempted on the crisps and biscuits. But that is really hard for me with the household that I live in. There are a few people in our house. There are children who like biscuits and crisps, and they are grandchildren, so I don't have control of what they eat. My child and partner lives here, so they're adults and they can eat whatever they want. My husband, while he does predominantly eat what I eat, he does like eating sweets and chocolate biscuits and toast. So there is all this stuff in the house that I used to eat a lot of. Everyone has different trigger foods, and when I call trigger foods, these are the food that you cannot just have one thing of. You know, who can have one square of chocolate? Who can have one biscuit? I know I can't have one slice of toast. If I have toast, I'm having 3, 4, 5, even eating buttered bread in the middle. If I'm having a hot buttery croissant, I am having 1 or 2 of those. These are my trigger foods, so I have been trying to eliminate them, and it's smart ways of doing that while there are still people in my house eating these things and not keeping them clean. So one of the things that I have been making my husband do is that he just has these things away from me. He has them at work, he doesn't have them in the house, and then I'm not tempted to eat them, and that really helps me. I buy things, the kit for the grandchildren when we do the food shop, that I know that I won't eat because they're not things that I absolutely love. And these are just strategies I'm trying to put in place. But one of my real problems has been toast, and so this is my week 3, and I can tell you that day 1 and 2 of this week have been real struggles. So I was away a few weeks ago and we were in a hotel, so it was very hard to get whole foods plant-based food. So we were eating things like burgers and pasta, but they had oils in them, and it was eating in a restaurant, so it was a real struggle, and it knocked my mindset off with food and made me crave these high-fat buttery foods. So I found myself eating toast, especially when I was tired, especially in the evening if I've been working all day and I've skipped dinner. So that's one of my bad habits. I will do amazingly. I will have my first couple of meals of the day will be perfect, and then because I'm satisfied for quite a long time, I will stay and work until I'm absolutely ravenous, and then, as you know, if you get ravenous you get illogical. So I've been working this week on eliminating the buttery bread and trying to eat better. So one of the things I discovered, and it is from, I think Broccoli Mum did an Instagram or a video on it, was this potato toast. So basically it is sliced potatoes just toasted up with some homemade tofu cream cheese, and it is absolutely delicious. And it's basically just rounds of grilled potato with this tofu cream cheese on top and then some cucumber. And I have found that has sorted out my toast craving, because what I've been after is that crunch and that cream. So instead of just saying to myself, no, you cannot have buttery toast or bread or something like that, I have looked for an alternative that is within the style of eating and habits that I want to get into. So, and I have had this potato toast with cream cheese pretty much every day, and I don't care, because it has kept me off the bread and got me out of that kind of craving addiction for it. And this is one of the things that I've also dealt with, is this food perfection. So when I'm talking about food perfection is if you're going to change your diet, you are trying to shed a load of habits. So for example, if you're going from meat eater to vegan, I mean, I did that pretty much straight away, but my husband took a little while, because you spend your life eating a certain way. So you may spend all your time eating junk food and then you're switching, or you have meat eater to vegan like we did, and you are trying to undo decades of eating habits that are just instilled in you now. And to ask for perfection on the first day is absurd, really. So I am on week 3 of this journey, so expecting 100% perfection of myself is really putting a barrier in front of myself, because I might not be perfect, and that's okay. And what happens when we are trying to eat a certain way? If we have a day where we are not perfect, so for example, say I ate some toast for my Monday lunch because I was in a rush, and I know I'm not wanting to eat toast with butter and stuff like that. So because I'd be like, oh well, that's my day blown, I would then eat some vegan junk food for my third meal of the day, and then I would probably have biscuits and cake and chocolate later, because I've already decided that I wasn't perfect in what I ate, so why does it matter what I eat for the rest of the day? And sometimes this mentality can happen through the week as well. So you just write it all off. One meal has messed it up. But at the end of the day, if you eat 3 meals a day, as we kind of all habitually do, that's 21 meals a week. If you have one meal that isn't in the way that you want to eat and doesn't align with how you are trying to get to, especially in the beginning, it doesn't matter. It's one meal, and that's not giving myself permission to go off and eat a pizza, but I'm just saying if it doesn't fit. So we're going out to dinner in a week or so with some friends, and we're going to a popular restaurant, and there isn't going to be anything that's whole foods plant-based. I already know I will choose the cauliflower curry with the rice, but it's going to have oil in it. It's going to have things in it that I wouldn't cook with. We will also have an alcoholic drink, so I will have a glass of something, but I'm not going to say to myself, well, I'm going out this week, so let's eat all the junk, or I'm going out today, let's eat all the junk. It's shedding this idea that we have to be perfect 100% of the time, because we don't. And especially at the beginning, at these early stages, it is all about building building those better habits. So this week, apart from the Saturday and Sunday last week, which weren't my best, Monday to today have been fantastic. So like I say, I have enjoyed some really good foods. I was looking for how to battle the toast, and like I said, I found this potato toast, which has been fantastic. And you know, sometimes in those evenings when I did just want toast, that idea of toast, I got some rice cakes that are literally just rice, and I spread them with cream cheese and threw some cucumber on them, and I ate those and they hit the spot and they've been great. And I've also worked a lot this week on batch cooking. So as my actual job, I am an author, which means I'm busy, especially at the moment because I am coming up to a deadline. So I have 4 weeks left to get this book turned in, which means I don't have a lot of time to spend in the kitchen. Now, this is the time when I would be reaching for the vegan pizzas, the burgers, the sandwiches, the toast, the things that I don't want to eat. So instead, I have prepared a lot of food. So I have made a big batch of millet in my Instant Pot, which I'm going to use the same way you would use as couscous or rice. I roasted some vegetables with some spices, like I diced them up, roasted the vegetables with these spices, and I throw them on top of this millet. We made some homemade tofu out of lentils. I baked 2 trays of potatoes so they can be churned into chips or wedges, or I can literally just heat one of those up and eat it as a baked potato. I am currently eating a bowl of chili as I am talking. So we batch cooked some multi-bean chili. I'm trying to think what else there was. I chopped up some melons, some pineapple. I made a batch of homemade tofu mayonnaise. I've made another batch of homemade tofu cream cheese. So if I get to these points where I'm working super late, because it does happen when I'm on deadline, I have food in my fridge where I could throw together a meal. Yesterday I ran downstairs, wanted something to eat for my lunch, didn't have much time, so I got the millet, I threw the vegetables on. I also chopped a big box of salad. So I got the millet, I threw on some of those roasted vegetables, I got a load of salad into a bowl, stirred it all up, threw some of my homemade mayonnaise through it, stirred that and just ate it, and it was delicious and it filled me up. And then a bit later, when I was after something sweet, I just threw a load of pineapple and watermelon in a bowl and ate that. And that's one of the other things that I've been doing this week, is looking for my favourite whole foods plant-based food. So when I'm busy, they are just there and I'm more likely to reach for them. And so this week it's just been setting myself up and thinking ahead to what obstacles I have to maintaining these habits that I am trying to create within myself and with how I'm eating. So I've got pictures on my Instagram of some of the things that I have eaten this week. I did put up a couple of shorts of kind of what I eat in the day, and that was a lot to do with my own accountability. If I was showing people what I was eating, I wasn't going to eat the junk food. And I've also eaten a lot of meals the same. So we've had chili a couple of times, I've had the millet salad a couple of times, I've had the potato toast for several times. I've always been starting my day with overnight oats and things like that. So from Monday I had a great week, got back on it, feel prepared, tackling the next week ahead. So probably the important question of how much weight did I lose this week, I can confirm that I lost 1.5 pounds this week. It would have been more if I'd not had my weekend that I kind of just went a little crazy, but that's fine. 1.5 pounds is still going in the right direction, and there are 31 weeks left of the year. If I lose 1 pound a week for the rest of the year, I will have lost just over 2 stone, which will have me super close to where I want to go, because that would be 31 pounds. That's over halfway of my goal. So yeah, so 1.5 pounds this week. I'm really happy with that, and I am going to head off. So I hope this was useful. I hope you're enjoying my journey. And how's your week been going? Are you trying to follow a whole foods plant-based diet? What kind of things hold you back? Like I've talked about mine with the food perfection and the triggering foods. What kind of things stop you from losing the weight? Anyway, I'm going to head off. Don't forget to give this video a like, hit that notification bell so that you get notified when I add a video, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week.